Here in the UK, we are blessed with a network of popular bikepacking routes and lesser known trails not far from our front doors. Whether it's exploring quiet, forgotten roads with grass and moss running through the middle, trails for ancient and managed woodlands, to riding across open moorland, hiking a bike across exposed mountain ridges, or simply enjoying an easy trail along a canal, the UK has plenty for you to discover and enjoy. In this video I'll show you 3 bikepacking routes that I have not only ridden myself, but in my opinion are great bikepacking routes that anyone just getting into bikepacking should go and check out. The first of these is the Rebellion Way. The Rebellion Way starts in Norwich in the eastern county of Norfolk. It's a 242 mile or 373 kilometre bikepacking adventure meandering along a mix of quiet, mostly forgotten back roads, byways, cycle tracks and bridleways under big skies. It's a fantastic introduction to anyone going out on their first multi-day bikepacking adventure. I opted to start the Rebellion Way not too far from King's Lynn, and so the first leg for me took me through King's Lynn and then through the Royal Sandringham estate, hopping off the bike to explore the remarkable Castle Rising and then along the beautiful North Norfolk coastline to enjoy a chippy tea. Later that evening, the route would send me through Wells next to the sea, where I was able to resupply for the evening, and before long I had found myself a spot to bivvy under the stars on this warm, long summer's evening. In my second leg I would pass through quiet villages in the Norfolk countryside and later briefly ride through the Norfolk Broads to Wroxham, where again I would stop at a local chippy for dinner. After leaving the Broads behind, the route took me through the centre of Norwich, where the official route would normally start. I would then continue through the town of Diss. Instead of a chippy tea, this time I would order pizza and visit a nearby Morrison's just off the route. After leaving Diss, I would soon find a fantastic wild camping spot in the woods and arrive in plenty of time, for once, to enjoy watching the sun go down on the horizon. On my final leg of the Rebellion Way, I'd find myself at first light passing through some absolutely superb back roads towards Crackthorne Corner, getting ever closer to Thetford Forest, where I would get to experience some joyful woodland trails and mixing with nature. This is also part of the journey where the weather for me would change to miserable rain, making the trails, which would then turn to sand, more of a challenge. I would soon seek respite from the rain, for a short while stopping at the Shepherd's Bar at Linford Arboretum and Lakes, a beautiful cafe located within the woodlands I'd been riding through for a while now. When it comes to rating the Rebellion Way in terms of difficulty, I would give this a 1 out of 5, with 1 being super easy and enjoyable and 5 being super technical and challenging. The Rebellion Way is a great bikepacking route that will appeal to everyone. I even saw a couple with 2 younger children sharing the load with panions on all the bikes. The Rebellion Way is indeed mostly on tarmac with a few off-road trails which are relatively easy and won't pose too much of a challenge to anyone thinking of riding this route. The Rebellion Way can easily be completed on near enough any kind of bike, but personally I would opt for a gravel bike for maximum comfort and pace. But equally, I saw many instances of people on hybrid bikes and regular hardtail mountain bikes along much of the off-road sections of the route. So the answer is really whichever bike suits your style. I would expect most people to easily finish the Rebellion Way in either 3 or 3 and a bit days, depending on time of year and the weather of course. As a frame of reference, I started the route at 4 PM on a Friday at the height of summer, riding all day from 8 in the morning, stopping just before it got dark on an evening, finishing the Rebellion Way on the Sunday afternoon. If you would like to download the route, learn more about the history of the Rebellion Way, or find out places to stay, check out the link below. Now the second bikepacking route to make it onto this list is the Transpennine Way. This was my first bikepacking route, which I rode a few years ago back in 2020. The Transpennine Way runs across the north of England from Hornsey in East Yorkshire to Southport in Merseyside, covering a total distance of 211 miles or 340 kilometres. The terrain is a mix of bridleways, disused railway lines, quiet country lanes and cycle paths. The Transpennine Way is actually a part of the National Cycle Network, the NCN 64. You should find navigating the route easy, as it is signposted for its entire length. Many bikepackers may not see the Transpennine Way as a traditional bikepacking route, but it almost certainly is, showing many of the same characteristics as enjoyed by many other popular bikepacking routes. Quiet ways, low traffic roads, trails and tracks through the woods, and the crossing of the Pennines. You'll discover cafes, places to stay, and things seen along the Transpennine Way. This route certainly differs from the Rebellion Way in that there is some level of elevation involved, and the trail can get a little bit tricky at times. If you want the full experience of riding the Transpennine Way, you have the choice of either starting in Hornsey or Southport. I chose to ride from my front door, picking up the route in South Yorkshire and heading west. The terrain is fairly flat, except this section right in the middle where you cross over the Pennines. It does get a little more challenging here, but as you reach the top and begin to descend along disused railway lines on the way down to Hadfield, the route becomes much easier and more benign. The Transpennine Way then winds its way through many towns and cities, and you'll soon find yourself riding with the River Mersey on your left hand side. From here it's very easy going, apart from this one single footbridge that you'll probably hate no matter which direction you might be travelling the Transpennine Way. As you get ever closer to Southport, you'll find yourself skirting through the city of Liverpool, but not really seeing that much. So if you have the time, you may want to go off route and do some sightseeing. Once you reach the Southport end of the Transpennine Trail, you'll be greeted by this trail marker. In terms of difficulty, I'd rate the Transpennine Way 3.5 points out of 5. It's not super easy, nor is it super technical. If you take your time when the going gets a little harder, especially over the Pennines, you'll often find you are rewarded by views or nice downhill. For me, I found the crossing of the Pennines particularly rewarding. Here you will reach some of the highest points in the Peak District, so on a good day you'll get to enjoy some epic views. In 2020 I chose a road bike with wide 35C Schwalbe mountain tyres because that's all I had at the time. So yes, it can be done on a road bike as long as you're able to fit wider tyres, but if I were to go and ride the Transpennine Way again, I would certainly choose a gravel bike over anything else. Although much of the route is flat, it's a fairly typical NCN route where there are definite signs of underinvestment, so the going can feel slow at times, with the odd barrier getting in the way, slowing your progress. Having said that, in the last few years, efforts to make the route more accessible, safer and easier to ride have been made with significant resurfacing and widening of paths, especially between Doncaster and Selby. So you're probably thinking, how long will it take me to finish the Transpennine Way? I recommend it would take most reasonably fit people 3 full days to ride the entire trail. If you want a more leisurely experience, stopping off at places and sightseeing and generally taking your time, you probably want to give yourself at least 4 days. If you want to ride the Transpennine Trail, check out the link below. The Lincoln Gravel Imp, as the name suggests, means that you'll be visiting the historic city of Lincoln in the heart of the county of Lincolnshire. In spite of this, much of the route, in fact, takes place in the adjoining county of Nottinghamshire. The Lincoln Gravel Imp is a beautiful route around the northern half of Nottinghamshire, a very quiet, laid-back part of the county, full of woodlands, fields and farmland wherever you look. If you're not familiar with this area at all, be pleased by the amount of gravel, woodland and grasslands that complete this route. The route from start to finish is just around 135 miles or 217 kilometres, a distance that some will comfortably be able to finish within a weekend. Indeed, this is what I did myself. In fact, I made it even a little bit easier for myself and I started late on a Friday afternoon riding to the start of the route, a journey of about 20 miles. In whatever time you give yourself to enjoy this route, It's no place for a road bike. The Lincoln Gravel Imp has much more off-road riding than both the Rebellion Way and the Transpennine Trail, and so progressing along the route will indeed take you much longer than you may otherwise think. This is definitely a route that you would ride on a gravel bike, although if you're thinking about riding this in early spring or later autumn, perhaps a mountain bike would be a better option. As you can see, much of the route is through fields and woodlands, up and down trails and gravel tracks and across fields, only briefly touching tarmac. If you choose to ride the Lincoln Gravel Imp from the start in Retford, you may well opt for a hotel or bed and breakfast in Lincoln, as this sits at the halfway point of the route. However, if like me you prefer sleeping outdoors, with a little research you will find campsites not too far off route. As I mentioned earlier, when I rode the Lincoln Gravel Imp, I didn't start in Retford and opted instead to wild camp. In this respect, I was spoilt for choice, passing through Clumber Park, Sherwood and Clipstone Forest, where I either found myself riding into the evening with plenty of opportunities to throw up a tent or set up a bivvy camp. In terms of difficulty, I'd rate the Lincoln Gravel Imp a firm 2 out of 5 points. If you're looking to ride your first bikepacking adventure and Norfolk sounds a little too far to travel, or perhaps looking for an adventure a little more challenging, then the Lincoln Gravel Imp might be for you. The Lincoln Gravel Imp offers a great blend of woodland trails, meadows and gravel tracks with often easy rolling hills, quiet roads and bridleways. Finishing the Lincoln Gravel Imp will open your eyes to the world of bikepacking adventures, and you'll look forward to the next big adventure. If you want to find out more about the Lincoln Gravel Imp, check out the links below. So there we have it, 3 great bikepacking routes here in the UK that you should go and ride. If you enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I shall see you again soon. Bye bye and thanks for watching.
Good morning folks, looking attractive as always. Pour some water, a cup of coffee. I got some oats as well. Turns out I forgot to bring my bowl with me, so I'm going to have coffee and oats at the same time. I don't want to have to boil the water twice. Oh, look at that. Lush.